The Rise of the Forgotten, A Tale of Anarchy. The land of abundance turned to ashes. Long ago, in the great kingdom of Oduma, the land was rich, the rivers were full, and the people lived in harmony. The elders led with wisdom, and the youth were eager to learn the ways of their ancestors. The land flourished because the leaders cared for the people. But as time passed, greed crept into the hearts of those in power. The king and his chiefs no longer listened to the cries of the people. The roads became broken, the rivers dried up from pollution, and hunger spread like wildfire. The worst of it came when bandits from the neighboring lands began to attack villages, stealing, killing, and burning homes. The people cried out for protection, but the king and his guards did nothing. "It is not our concern," they said. "Let them fend for themselves." The people of Oduma were left with two choices: die like sheep or fight like lions. A young hunter named Ikin gathered his friends in the village square one evening. They were all young men and women who had lost their families to bandit attacks. "We cannot wait for the king to save us," Ikin said. "We must defend our people ourselves." One by one, the youth stood up. Some had bows and arrows, others had hunting knives, and a few had guns they had secretly kept from old wars. They called themselves the Iron Youth, vowing to fight for the people who had been abandoned. At first, the elders warned them. "Anarchy is dangerous," they said. "When young men take up arms, peace is lost forever." But Ikin replied, "What peace do we have when our mothers are starving and our sisters are being taken?" And so, the Iron Youth began their mission. At first, they only defended their villages from bandits. But as time passed, they saw that their enemy was not just the invaders, it was their own rulers. The king continued to live in luxury, feasting while the people suffered. The youth marched to the palace, demanding justice. "Give us protection, or we will protect ourselves," they shouted. But the king laughed. "You are nothing but foolish children," he said. "You cannot rule a kingdom with weapons alone." The words angered the Iron Youth. They had fought for their land, buried their loved ones, and suffered. They refused to be ignored. That night, they stormed the palace. The king and his chiefs fled into the forest, and for the first time in history, Oduma had no ruler. At first, the people rejoiced. "We are free," they cheered. The youth ruled the villages, sharing food, protecting the weak, and ensuring justice. But soon, power became a poison. The young warriors who had once fought for justice now fought for control. Each group of Iron Youth wanted to lead, and soon, they turned against each other. The land became lawless. Thieves pretended to be warriors. The roads were no longer safe. Instead of a greedy king, Oduma had become a kingdom of warlords. One day, Ikin stood on the palace balcony, looking down at the chaos. He saw young men killing each other, families hiding in fear, and mothers mourning their sons. "This is not the justice we fought for," he whispered. With a heavy heart, Ikin called for the elders. "Help us," he begged. "We have taken power, but we do not know how to lead." The elders, who had once warned them, came together. With their wisdom and the strength of the youth, they rebuilt the kingdom. A council was formed, where both young and old ruled together. They created laws that ensured fairness, and the people promised never to allow greed to blind their leaders again. But the lesson remained: when a people are abandoned, they will rise. And when a people rise without wisdom, they will fall into chaos. Moral of the story: a leader who ignores his people creates his own downfall. When justice is denied, the people will take it by force. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. The youth are strong, but the elders are wise. Both must work together to build a great nation. Please watch, like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting stories.